Hey, welcome to Momentum Trade Diaries. I'm Robin, and today I'm going to be going over my watch list of ETFs and stocks, individual companies, update the alerts, and talk a little bit about the charts of each of the symbols, talk about a couple other plans or ideas for the channel going forward, and try to keep this a little brief. So this is my first video, so go easy on me, and hopefully the next videos will just improve and get better as we go. But I plan to make a couple videos a week updating the watch list, and um, hopefully I can dive into more information as I go through the charts, and I'll make a separate um, series for various topics related to momentum trading and what I do with my momentum trading. So let's get started. I'm going to show you my watch list, and you can see that the top part here, all of these are ETFs, and then below the line here are all of the individual stocks that I follow. So this may change as time goes on, but I try to keep this pretty steady. A lot of these, like most of these ETFs, are not going to change. I like to stay consistent and follow particular markets. I feel like that gives me an edge. So I'm going to start with QQQ NASDAQ 100. That's one of my favorite ETFs to follow. And what I'm going to do is update the alerts. Just kind of want to keep track of price action and see if there's an opportunity for me to enter a trade on this. So right now we can see it's dropped down below the 20-day moving average. So when a stock is dropping like this, I look for maybe levels of support where it might bounce, maybe not. It looks like um, the closest level of support right now is around 600. So that's why I placed my alert at 601. And these cells are conditionally formatted. So if it goes below the price, if the price goes below the alert, then the cell will turn red. If I do 680, it'll turn red. So then I'll know that the alert was triggered. If I'm in a position, I can sell at that point. Or if the price goes above um, the alert, then the cell will turn green, which tells me that maybe it's a good time to enter the trade. All right, so we set the low alert at 601 for QQQ, and the high I'm going to set right above the 20-day moving average, which is right around that 620 mark. So that's okay. So let's set the alert on the high side for 622. If it goes above that, I might want to make a trade. So we'll see how far I can get on this watch list in this video. I'm trying to keep it kind of short, so I might have to make another video to cover, what I don't cover in this video, as well as I also want to talk about what else is included in this workbook, just to give you an idea of moving forward in future videos, what I'm going to be tracking, and um, yeah, and how that all comes together. So let's get back to these alerts as we move on to the SPY, which is the ETF for the S&P 500. Whoa, that's the wrong screen. No, that's the wrong screen. Where did the screen go? Here it is. So this is QQQ and SPY. Here, S&P 500, again, breaking below the 20 right now. We'll see if it stays below that. We'll see. But the next level of support that I'm looking at is probably around 665, maybe a little bit above the 661, 663. I'll just throw that in there just to have something on the page. And for a high, again, I just want to see if it's going to break above that 20, then I might be interested. So right now the 20 moving average is at 677. So maybe if it hits like 679. See? All right, DIA. This is Dow Jones Industrial. 30 stocks make up this ETF. More of a defensive play. So on this one, looks like I'm going to put an alert for a low of around 471, maybe. Let's do 471. And I'm not going to go into details as to why I'm picking these numbers right now, but in future videos, I'll be able to explain more behind the reasons for my choices here. Now on the high side, it's already above the 20, so I could do a high of 485. That would be a new high. I'll just do 485 there. Next, we're looking at GBTC, which is Bitcoin Trust. And this is, yeah, it follows Bitcoin. So on this one, I think I'll put a low. You can see I have some support and resistance lines set up based on prior price action. So I'm going to put this alert right around that 75 area, maybe 75.25, and we'll revisit that if it hits 75.25. And on the high side, you may have guessed, but I'm going to be looking for that 20-day line. So right now it's at 83.75, and that's probably going to change if it continues to go down. But for today, I'm going to put it right around that 84 price level, and I'll update that, and that's what I was saying earlier, is that I'm going to update these price alerts, pretty much every day. Every couple days, I'll make a video showing you, the new updates, and try to talk a little bit about why I'm making those updates, give you an idea of where I'm coming up with this. But the next one is gold, GLD. I'm going to jump over to gold. And of course, if you have any questions, leave a comment and I will read through those, see if I can get an answer for you. If you have questions about anything like, yeah, I use stock charts, or why did I do this or that, or why do I have that stock in my watch list or whatever. So whatever comes to mind, just send a comment and send a question in the comments and I'll answer that. All right, gold already broke above the 20. So maybe that's a level of support. I mean, we got a gap right here, and then a gap right here, which is kind of the same kind of gap. So, and then that's right above the 20. So maybe support at like 375. I can revisit that. I'm just going to throw 375 in here. 375 for a low, and then for a high. I mean, this thing, it could go up to its prior top, maybe. So why not just throw it in there at 403, 403.30? I'll just do that, 403.30 for the high. All right, next is MAGS. This is an ETF that tracks the Magnificent 7 stocks. So on this one, we got to break below the 20, break below the 40. So maybe the next level support is right around 63. So I'm going to throw in 63 for the low. And I'm going to put a high alert right at above the 20. So I'm looking at maybe 66, 66, 75. It doesn't have to be exact. It's just making a number that's going to catch my attention when it hits that level, and then I can decide from there if I want to make a trade or not. I'm not forced. Nobody's forcing me to make a trade. Nobody's forcing. So if it hits that number, I can look at it, and at that point, I'll look at some of the indicators and decide how do I feel about this. But same time, I'll keep my emotions out of it and just stick to what the charts are telling me, because you don't want to make emotional trades. It just gets you in trouble. So with the semiconductors is the next one on the list right here. Semiconductors, very strong industry when the market's in good health. And SMH is the ETF I follow for semiconductors. And we can see that again, it's dropped below the 20 here. So it could go down. I mean, it's hitting the 40-day. I use the 40, not the 50. Could use the 50, but I just use the 40. So it's at the 40 right now. It'll be interesting to see if it bounces off the 40 like it did a couple days ago, or if it's going to dive through it. But I'm going to go ahead and just throw in an alert right around that 333 level. Throw it in there, 333. And we'll just put 33, 33, 33, 33. And then for the high, I'm going to just go with the 20 because, you know, I love the 20. So I'm going to, at this point, I think you already know that I love the 20. So I'm going to go with 355 because I want it to break above the 20. So 355. If it's above that level, I'll be interested. I'll take a look at it. Next is the SVIXY, which is the volatility index inverse. It's the inverse of the volatility index. So right now, because volatility is entering the market, this is going down. So there's several different ETFs that follow the volatility index, and this one is just an inverse. So I'm looking at a support level possibly around 46. So maybe I'll just set an alert for like 46.25. 46.25. If it hits that level, I'm going to revisit and kind of look at the market situation to determine if maybe I want to throw a couple bucks in there. We'll see. And again, I'll talk more about the strategy and the trading system I use in future videos. But this is just something to update the watch list for now. So on the high side, I think I'm going to go with the 20, and just say if it goes above 50, I'll revisit that. All right. Next is home builders. So this follows the home builders sector, and we can see that it's again having trouble with the 20 here. Breaking down, it looks like. So it could, it could go to the 200 maybe. Maybe it hits the 200 and bounces at 303. Maybe it continues down to like did I say 303 or 103? Maybe it goes down to like 98, maybe. I don't know. So we'll just see. I'll revisit if it goes to 103, 103, let's do 103, and then on the high side, we want it 107. Take a look at that. All right, the communications services. I don't follow all of the sectors because a lot of them are just not interesting to me. I mean, they're not they're not volatile. They don't have a lot of push behind the move. So I just don't even get involved. I want to be in things that move. So let's see, XLC, and I can talk more about that in another video. But XLC, we're looking at, I feel like it's right around that support of 112, but it certainly could drop down. And I think next support could be at like, maybe it's at 110 or 109. Let's do 109.50, see what happens. And then on the high side, I'm just going to put in that 20-day moving average. If you hadn't guessed that, then what have you been doing for the last couple minutes here? So we're at about 115 on the 20-day moving average. Next, we're looking at energy. Oh my goodness, it did it again. What is going on here? Energy. No, this is communications. Energy is here. Okay, so you can see this one has been like kind of rangy, like kind of in a range for the past like 2 years. So you can see I have some support and resistance levels set up on this. And yeah, so we're going to set a high around 92, 93, just under 93 at this high, 92, 91. And then the low, I'm going to set the low around 85. We'll do 85 and 92, 91. Okay, XLF. All right, so the financial sector, you can see that this is getting some strength against SPY. That's interesting. And then, but we'll talk more about the indicators in another video. Because right now I'm just trying to set up this watch list so we can kind of follow it moving forward. So XLF is above the 20, and the high is going to be around, if it can get there, 54.50, just under 54. I'll do 54.49. And then the low, I mean, this is a pretty solid looking level of support, so I'm going to be around the 52. So let's do 52 and then 54.49. XLK, which is the technology sector. And this one, you can see that it looks like the strength is weakening against the SPY. So not a good sign for technology sector, in my opinion. But then you can see here, I mean, it's dropped below the 20. So I think next level of possible maybe support at like 281. I mean, the last most recent low was 281.60. So maybe it's going to be like 281.61. Let's see, 281.61. And then the high, I think I'm going to go with the 20 on this one. And so I'll put an alert if it goes above the 20 at like 294-ish. I mean, I think I'm not going to trade if it hits 294. I'm going to want it to go above 294. But I'll start looking at it at 294. That's the other thing. This is not a day trading strategy. Probably should have mentioned that at the beginning, but this is like swing trading. So I hold these positions anywhere from a couple days to a couple weeks. So that's the method I prefer. But okay, XLRE is the real estate. These are not the home builders, but these are like the property managers and like rental real estate kind of, like commercial real estate owners that rent out various buildings to companies. So this one, I do have some support and resistance support lines set up on this, and it's really been range bound, even lower than this resistance, even at like 43. It's hit resistance. So I could even put one there if I wanted, which that would make sense. But on the low side, I'm looking at like right around the 40.50, $40.50. So I'll throw that in there, see what happens. 40, 50, and on the high side, I'm gonna say, oh my goodness, should I say the 20? I'm just gonna do it. Just be consistent, and I'm gonna say 41.65 XLY. So even if it hits this target and I'm like, oh gosh, I could totally trade it, I may not even trade it because I don't need to trade anything, and it's important to remember that. Like, you don't need to force yourself into a trade because there's always going to be a trade opportunity out there. XLY. I think I'm going to do XLY and then might have to cut it for a second part. Maybe do it. All right, XLY. You can see there how important resistance lines can be. This is like right at that 242, and I'm going to show you on a 2-year daily, just back 2024, 2025 today. And you can see it hit a high of like 240 in December 24, and then it tested it in September of this year, and it couldn't really stay above it for very long. And then in like October, November, it tested it again, and it again kind of failed. And so you can see how important some of these levels can be. So that's something that I take into account in my trading system that I'll discuss further in future videos. But in this case, we're updating the watch list with some alerts. So I'm going to put an alert for this around 228. I'll say 229. Look at that, 229. And these are pretty tight alerts too. I feel like there's a good chance that's going to get triggered. And that's the other thing I'll mention is that my strategy is mainly for bulls. I don't short right now. Maybe down the road I'll do some shorting or something, but I just stick to the bull side because there's an old saying that bulls and bears make money, but pigs get slaughtered. And I feel like that's kind of saying like, if you're too greedy and you want to play the bulls and the bear side and you don't know what you're doing, then you're going to get slaughtered. I mean, your money is going to vanish very quickly. So I prefer to just kind of stick to one side, one mindset, but maybe that'll change. Anyways, 229 on the low. On the high, I'm going with 239, right above the 20-day moving average. 239. All right, so we have covered, so we've covered not very many, 18 stocks so far, and we still have quite a bit to go. So I'm going to just end it here, and well, not right here, but in a minute. And then we'll do like a part 2 to go over, see how far we can get there. But before I end it, I want to talk a little bit about the other tabs in this and kind of give you an idea of what to expect. So let's say that XLY hits the target, the alert at 239. So I may decide at that point to make an entry. So I would buy it at, maybe 239.50 or whatever. I'll put the date in there and then I'll just hold it for as long as I can until I get a sell signal, and I'll explain in future details about the signals I use for buying and selling. And so yeah, so at some point I'll sell it. Let's just say I sell it for like 245. So I'm going to format these cells so that it calculates the gain or loss dollar value and percentage value. And these are like the open trades on the watch list activity. And then there's going to be a trade history too. So for XLY, so I'll put that in here for the buy, sell, and then the gain on that. And if I do any more trades on XLY, then I'll just add some rows and I'll just keep adding for XLY all of the trades that I've done. And it'll come up with a total for each ticker. And then at the very bottom, everything will be totaled up. So you can see I'm still putting this together. And then from there, it's going to be like the total gains and losses for each ticker. So it'll like summarize each ticker, all the trades that I've done. So if I did like 5 trades on XLY, 3 of them were gains, 2 were losses. And it'll just summarize the total gain or loss. And then in this last one, it'll talk about like portfolio allocation. And so I'll explain kind of how the strategy takes portfolio allocation into account. And so this kind of will keep track of like any trades that are active. It'll look at the portfolio allocation based on the value of the full portfolio. Okay, so that's kind of an idea of what these like videos are going to be about, and like in the series of like just watch list update. And then I'm going to have another series that kind of talks more about the strategy itself, and then I'm going to have maybe within that series or maybe a different series that talks about like all of the tools that I use, like stockcharts.com, and I'm going to explain how to set up charts and what all of these indicators do and how I use them. So hope you liked this, and if you did, or if you have questions, make sure you leave a comment. If you liked it, then hit the like button, and then definitely subscribe so that you can follow along as I become rich or lose all my money. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the next one.